Hi friends, it's Becky, and I'm going to be dressing up my gemstone that I got in the Gemstone Orphanage tween box for October. This was a box that Jenny opened up and unboxed on our channel. I'll link to her unboxing in the description below. You can see it's very Halloween themed. I'm going with pure black and white for my design with her though. And each of these were named for a fictional witch, and this one is named Sarah after one of the witches in the film Hocus Pocus. And it is a beautiful, beautiful lady. Let's get some light behind there so you can get a better look at that Druzy. Let's turn her around. Just really, really pretty. And these are ones that you could actually, they were listed on the site, so you could pick and choose which one you got when you bought it. And then it came with all of these dress up bag things. And I'm choosing to use these chip beads. We have some obsidian and quartz chips. I thought they were gorgeous, and I'm combining them into some links, kind of mirroring that black and white striping that we get with the Druzy on there. So we're going to be making some links. I'll show you how. I'm using 20 gauge black craft wire for that. And then in between each of the links, I'm going to be using some sections of this gunmetal chain that also came in the box. I'll make a focal also using this black wire and I'll do a little bail with some of these beads. We're going to get a couple of the chip beads and one of these black obsidian rounds. This is the 8mm. And then also in the bag there was a toggle clasp and some jump rings, so I'm going to be using that for closure. And the tools that I'm using are some flush cutters, round nose pliers, and chain nose pliers. So these are what I'm going to be using for this part. Now the first thing I did was make some links. I'm going to make one link with you. But then the next thing I did was cut some sections of chain. So when we get to that part where we start making the necklace part, I'll show you how I make the links, how many sections of chain I did, and we might make some earrings. I don't know. I was thinking about doing something fun with some earrings, but first let's wrap my focal for this. Now 20 gauge wire, I checked before I started this, and 20 gauge wire will go through this twice, which is perfect. It will not go through this stone twice though, so I'm going to pull off about 9 inches of wire. I'm straightening it out with my fingers and warming it up. Cut this off. And I want a longer section and a shorter section, so about 1/3 of the way down right here. I'm going to make a very small loop with my round nose pliers. I'm just going to pinch gently. You don't have to squeeze. Close to the tip, but not quite at the tip. And we're just making a little loop there. For the wire to go through and around. I'm going to take the long end and this shorter end, and I want it to be a loop and not a sharp bend. And we're going to put both of those through the wire, or through the hole in my gemstone, going from the back to the front. As we get closer to the end here, I'm going to bend this up just a little bit, gently. And then I'm going to feed both of these through that loop right behind here. So I'm going to feed that through here slowly so it doesn't kink. And this one as well. now that that is there, I'm going to take this end here. You can use your chain nose pliers if you need to move that forward. Just going to push that forward a little bit right there. These are a little bit bent, so I'm just going to straighten it out a little bit more using my fingers to get rid of some of those kinks. I'm going to move this guy off to the side and get him out of the way while I work from this end. So from this end, I am going to add one of these chip beads right here. A black bead, this is my black round, and then another quartz chip bead on top of there. It's just going to be a little stack like that. And now I need to make a loop up here at the top, so let's grab our pliers. I'm going to turn this to the side, tip that over. I just did a little bend with my pliers, and now I'm going to wrap this around the top of my round nose pliers, rotate that bottom loop out of the way. I'm going to bend this down that way just real quick so that it is out of the way, so that I can wrap all the way down here. And now I've got some extra wire, so I'm going to use it to wrap around these beads. So we're going to go around here. And then around there. All the way to the back. Move that out of the way a little bit more. And then this one, I'm just going to curl into a, what is it called? You know, the thing, a coil, a spiral. So I'm going to start at the very tippy top on the end, and you see how it's a little bit straight right there? After I do that first bend, I'm just going to snip my flesh cutters, and then keep going around. And I'm not going for a tight curl, I'm going for a loose curl. So I'm just going to make sure I leave a little bit of space as I curl this in. The best thing to do when you're doing this is just go slow and have fun. There we go. So now that that is all curled up and wrapped up, let me show you how I make these links. So I've already got 4 made. You're going to want 10 total for your necklace. I already made 5 earlier that are linked together, so I'm going to show you how to do this in just a sec. So I've got 4 here. Let's make one more. Let's pick out some chip beads. I think I'd like to use this chunky guy. I kind of look at how the hole goes through some of these. I think I want that one there. And then maybe a smaller one on top. There we go. That'll work. So I've got my 3 chip beads. And for this, let's go ahead and straighten out some more of our 20 gauge wire. And I'm going to stack the chip beads on first while it's still on my spool. And I'm using simple loops for this. Now you can use a one-step looper if you want to make it a little bit easier for this. But it's easy to do some simple loops using that wire. I'm going to start with a flush cut end. I'm going to use my round nose pliers, and about 1/3 of the way down from the pointy end toward the fatter end, we're going to nestle that right there between them, and then turn the pliers until it meets the wire on the other end. And I like to rotate my pliers just down below the loop and give it a little bit of a turn in order to center my loop. And then I will give it a smush with my chain nose pliers in order to work hard in that. Push your beads up there, measure about 1 finger's width down. It can be a little bit more. And cut that off. You want to cut your wire, not your finger. And then I'm going to hold on to the wire and these beads and push my wire over to make a bend. It does not have to be a 90-degree angle. It can be a little bit shallower. And then I'm going to measure about 1 centimeter from the bead and snip off my excess wire. And then roll that up on the other end, and now I have a simple loop link. Alright, now let's cut some chain. I'm actually going to switch to an older set of snippers for cutting this chain. I want a 5 link section, and you see how we've got some large links and some small links. That 5 link section will be 3 large links and 2 small links. So after that 3rd large link, I'm just going to snip right there where that smaller link is to separate it from the rest of the chain. And I need 6 of these, since we're beginning and ending each side with this chain. That end of my chain just flew right up into my nose, you guys. Maybe I should put on some safety goggles. Just kidding, I just put my glasses on. 1, 2, 3. Four. Oop. Make sure that that I didn't cut the wrong things. No, that's a good little section of chain. Good little link. Alright, I am cutting the correct portion of this chain. And that's That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. All right. Now we just put it together, and to do that I'm going to use my chain nose pliers and open up a loop on one end of a beaded link, attach my chain to that end, then open up the other end of this link and attach another section of chain. Then we'll go to the next link, add a section of chain, flip it around, open up that end of my link, and attach that to the rest of the chain that I'm forming. I'm just going to keep doing this until all of these links are connected. Bet you thought I was done with beaded chain after September was over, and you were wrong. I'll never be done with it. I just have too much fun and enjoy doing it way too much to ever be done with that. But yeah, in case you were curious, the tween boxes were not the new subscription. These were between subscription boxes, or tween. And they're a really fun thing. They've been doing these Halloween tween boxes for a while with their old subscription model. And so they were not subscription boxes then either. They were ones that you would just purchase. But in the other iterations of these tween boxes, you didn't know what your gemstone was going to be. So it's kind of cool that they're available to be perused before purchase, so you know what you're going to get, because not everybody likes surprises. I personally love surprises, but not everybody does, so it's really cool that it can be available for everyone to enjoy. Alright, so now I've got my 2 lengths of chain. I've got my loop here, and then I've got my closures here. And so for this end, these links, they are split, so I could actually open them like jump rings and close them again. Let me grab a second set of pliers so that I can twist that open, attach it to that loop on my focal, and then twist it closed. I could alternatively just grab another jump ring and use it that way, but I thought I would attach that directly onto it. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this strand. There we go. It's just turning it so that the open section was on the outside of the chain, or on the end of the chain I should say, and not next to that next link. Now I twist it closed. Alright. Oh, I'm still going to use you to hold on to my jump ring so I can twist that open, attach my toggle, And these jump rings came in the box, by the way. We'll twist this guy open and attach the ring from the toggle clasp. Now I've got my necklace all dolled up with my gemstone. Let's do a real quick earring. I'm gonna do a wrapped loop on the end of this wire. By bending it over, wrapping it around. This is like what I did with the focal. And then if I hold on to the end of that, I can wrap this a couple of times there. Just gonna grab a second set of pliers to finish up that wrapping job. Right. That's gonna be good enough for me. Just going to turn this to the side and use my thumb to make a little circle with this. And then I'm going to put on some of these chip beads. Let's do a small one, small quartz, medium-ish for the next one of the black one, a little bit bigger quartz, and then this nice round bead. It looks like there's a little too much bend in my wire. Should have put that on before I curved it. Alright. And now I'm going to get some beads that are about the same size for the other side. There we go. A smaller black one. And then a tiny quartz one. And let's just curve it gently up here. Go. And wrap this black wire around. Forming a circle. Now the trick is going to be getting the next one to be the same size as that one. So for this one we'll go ahead and start with that loop again. That initial wrapped loop. And for this one I'm going to leave it straight until I get my beads on, because that the other bead, but we're going to start with a smallish clear chip bead. Medium size black one. A larger clear bead. There we go, that's a good one. This one. Then we work back down size-wise. So this one do? Maybe. Oh, it's too close to the edge. Sometimes you've got to be real choosy with these chip beads when you're working with them, friends. Medium-ish black bead. That's too close to the edge too. How about this guy? That'll work. And then a smaller one for the edge. Alright. Now, here's the trick. Trying to get these to be about the same size. And we'll wrap this guy around. We did the other. It's kind of a messy wrap. That's okay. There we go. Twisting it is going to make it work a little bit better. Alright, I am happy with this. And I just need to grab some ear wires. And it's good. I currently don't have ear wires made for this, but I can make some later. I like to make my own ear wires. Anyway, I'll post a picture of the finished earrings once I've got some ear wires on there. But these should go, especially when gravity's holding them down near the end. They should go together with our beads quite nicely. I like it. Alright, I'll put links in the description to Jenny's unboxing. I'll also put a link to her dress up of her gemstone, her Luna, if you missed that. And we're looking forward to making some more things with this tween box this month. Until next time, my friends, happy beading.